Welcome to my weekly Q&A show. First, I'd like to get started by talking about the naming contest that I mentioned last week. I'm still collecting entries to name my YouTube channel. And the name should embody the spirit of the channel, which is bodybuilding and fitness information that's designed to help you maximize your results. With that in mind, you can use the hashtag JWTV with your entries, and you can send them through Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or even email. As a reminder, the winner is going to get a copy of my Lost Logs ebook and a copy of our online video, The Secrets Behind I Want to Look Like That Guy. So let's get those entries in. We'll extend it one more week, and we'll look to announce the winner on next week's episode. So now that we got that taken care of, let's get into this week's question. The first one is about building better forearms. You know, and forearms are any of the smaller muscles like calves, forearms, abdominals. We still want to train them one time per week directly. Forearms get a huge amount of work all week long through all the main compound lifts that we're doing, so they don't need a lot. So 4 sets is really plenty, and we will train them in like a 6 to 8 rep range, similar to calves. We still want to subject them to overload, but because the movements are more isolation by nature, if you're having as much weight that you can only do about 4 reps with you, it's really hard to do it correctly. So again, forearms we're going to train in about a 6 to 8 rep range, 1 time per week, and about 4 sets is absolutely plenty. Question number 2 is about training splits and rest days. There are a number of ways that you can arrange your Max OT workouts, and really all of them can be equally effective as long as you're adhering to the main core Max OT principles. I always prefer to spread the workouts over a 5-day period because that keeps each particular workout a little bit shorter and more focused because you're not doing as many body parts per day. That said, if your schedule does not allow that, you can still have a successful and very effective Max OT style workout spread over 3 or 4 days. The main core principles that you need to keep in mind, regardless of if you're doing 3 or 4 or 5 days, is you need to keep the low volume. That's consistent with all Max OT workouts. The same type of exercise selection of those basic compound lifts, and the rep frequency and the overall frequency of exercises, you need to keep those very consistent. The other tip I will give you for when you're designing a Max OT workout is we don't want to group major body parts together in the same workout, such as chest with back or back with legs. And frankly, I wouldn't really put anything with legs other than calves or possibly abdominals, a smaller muscle group, but I wouldn't do any 2 major muscle groups together because it's going to impede the intensity for that second group in the workout. For the rest days, you can make that work with your schedule. I always preferred 5 days on and then 2 rest days off in a row. But it can still be effective. Otherwise, you can split that up. Again, you have a little variance there depending on your schedule as long as you're adhering to those core Max OT principles. You can see a really good example of a 5-day Max OT workout on my website, jeffwillet.com. If you click on the Training and Nutrition tab and scroll down, you'll see at the bottom there's a link for a 5-day Max OT workout, and then you can see exactly how one is spread out for you. And if you look through my blog, I have examples of a 3-day and a 4-day workout as well. The next question that comes to us is about nutrition secrets, and this is a huge topic, and I'm sure that we'll be touching on a lot of this information and related questions in the upcoming segments. But in general, there are some foundational principles that really hold true in every nutrition plan, and those fundamentals are this. We need consistent protein intake from the time you get up to the time you go to bed, spread over small frequent meals about every 2 to 3 hours. That's one really core nutrition principle. Another one is smart carbohydrate timing. You always want to keep the majority of your carbohydrates and calories around your workout time. You want to remember that you have a bubble that essentially surrounds your workout time of directly before and then up to about 3 hours after your workout. And in that bubble, that's the most important time of day to supply these really vital nutrients, which means, again, the majority of your carbohydrates and calories need to be in that bubble. And that's true even if you work out in the evening. You need to follow that. You do not want to be carbohydrate phobic because you want carbohydrates and you need them. You just need to interject them at the right time. And again, that right time is going to be following your workout. Another key nutrition principle that I would say would be to use a high quality whey isolate protein around the pre and the post workout window. Very important to supply this high quality protein and readily digestible and easily absorbed right in that particular window. And finally, I would say you want to incorporate lots of green crunchy vegetables in your non-training hours, and this is particularly true if you're on a calorie-controlled diet with fat loss as a high priority. So those are just some basic nutrition mainstays, and again, I'm sure we'll cover lots of nutrition topics over the upcoming episodes. Question 4 is about squat technique. And I just discussed this on my recent video of my must-have exercises, and I feel that squats are an absolute must-have in every Max OT leg workout. So you can check out that video if you haven't seen it already, and it'll give you a really good illustration of how to perform a squat. But here are a couple tips to help you that you can keep in mind the next time you do a squat workout. I always like to keep a mental checklist of I like to keep my head up, back straight, core tight. And I run through this little checklist before every single rep to help keep me properly aligned, help keep a powerful center, and to help keep me safe while executing that movement. The other thing to keep in mind when squatting is you need to go deep. You need to make sure that you're at least parallel to the ground for maximal muscle recruitment of the quadriceps, the hamstrings, and the glutes. And when in doubt, always go deeper. Number 5, reasonable goals in terms of size over time. Now this is a pretty good and common question that we get, and I don't like to set specific goals in terms of size or weight gain or for any particular month or for any stretch of time. I don't think that's the best use of your mental energy, and frankly without a crystal ball it's impossible to predict, and I think that that's ultimately detrimental to kind of box yourself into any set numbers. I would rather set my goals in terms of daily performance, and understanding that great daily performance is going to work to bring me closer to achieving that end goal. So strive for excellent execution of your plan daily, knowing that every great day that you string together is going to take you closer to really making that vision a reality. And continual progress over time really should be the goal rather than just plucking some arbitrary number out and trying to get X per month. I think, again, you want excellent execution over a span of time and understand that that's where really the great things happen, and then the numbers will take care of themselves. I'm excited to announce I will soon begin production on my next project, which is going to be a video designed for bikini and figure competitors. It's going to be step-by-step on nutrition and workout, and it's going to feature an up-and-coming NPC bikini competitor who recently took second place and became nationally qualified in only her second contest using my principles. So I'm really excited about this because we're going to break a lot of myths about female training. Look forward to bringing that to you. So stay tuned for any updates and the latest release date as soon as I have them. So with that being said, I look forward to talking to you next week. Now let's go out and execute.